Let me tell you about some people who are working in creative ways to build Christian communities. Let's call them pioneers, although many of them wouldn't use that word to describe themselves. They'd say they're just responding to what God is calling them to do. They're all quite different. Some are employed by the church, some aren't. Some are ordained, some aren't. Some are young and some are old. But they all follow Jesus. And they've realised that to help other people follow Jesus, they might need to work outside the normal reach of the church as we know it. So if they don't meet in a church building, where do they gather? Well, all over really. Pubs, coffee shops, on the streets, in a park, online, in an art gallery, in homes and shops, on the beach, just wherever people are. Sometimes we call these gatherings fresh expressions, or pioneer projects, or new places for new people. The people who gather, well, they call it church, or community, or home. Whatever they're called, they have at their core a desire and expectation to bring about the kingdom of God. In some ways, it's a little like early Methodism, gatherings of people who are trying to work out what it means to follow Jesus. Some of these pioneers already meet with each other. We call this the Pioneer Hub, and they meet for support. They share stories and learn together. Then they go back out as disciples in their own context, forming new kingdom communities based on what God is calling them to do. How might these people be better supported, and how might more pioneering type work be developed? In recent times, it seems that God has been calling more pioneers, and maybe that's what the church needs at the moment. People are being called for such a time as this. As Methodists, we group people and churches into circuits based on their geographical location. But these pioneers and these projects are all over, so we need a new picture. Let's not call it a structure, as that plants an image in our minds that might not be helpful, not when it's more like a shared home. So let's call it a mother house, and remember the monks and monasteries that have such a rich history in our area. Homes are important. Homes should be safe places where we're fed and nurtured and cleaned up and taught and encouraged to try new things. Imagine with me then this home for pioneers. Some will live in this new home. Others might just call in to visit now and again. Now obviously we're not talking about a physical building here. This home is the gathered people and can be moved to use different buildings as necessary. Within our area, we have some projects that are connected to the district in some way, but not to a local church or circuit. This new home would create a safer place of accountability for works such as these: Together Mission, Recovery Church, Dianu, Caniem. You may not have heard of all of these, and that's okay. As Methodists, we value being connected to one another. Some of these new communities are already well connected. They might be supported and resourced by a local church or a circuit. If we take the home analogy a little further, we might call them terraced housing. Projects that are attached to the new home, the mother house, but are based in local churches or circuits. Here we've got lots of examples: Grace Place, Beachcomber FX, Barleymow Mission Project, Church on the Street. Like a terrace, they can be attached to two homes, the circuit or church and the district mother house. Both the circuit and the mother house working together to resource and develop these projects and to encourage and equip the pioneers. Some, though, are a bit more separated and would benefit from being connected to others. You'll see we have some detached housing too. Around the district there are a number of projects that are more freelance, not resourced or accountable to a circuit, but still led by Methodist folk. The mother house would provide for them a place of home, accountability and family. Some pioneers and projects haven't even been discovered yet. They are like a dream or a hope just waiting to be realised. This housing analogy creates an understanding of some of the relationships we already have and pinpoints ways in which they could be developed. I mentioned earlier that it could be described as something a little like early Methodism. It's not dissimilar to Wesley's bands, classes and societies. The mother house becomes like the band. It's the place where leaders gather to learn and to grow. It's from the bands that the classes were launched, small groups of disciples facilitated by the leaders. The societies are those larger groups and gatherings that would see themselves as being church. Some of these groups and projects might even go on to be constituted according to Methodist practices. What else does the Mother House offer? Well, for some it could be a step into the pioneer pathway. For most, it will be a place to find support through the provision of supervision or coaching. These are hard times ahead for us all as we emerge from this pandemic. Some are saying that this will be a time when spiritual entrepreneurs will thrive. We were already trying to navigate the way on the map of our post-Christendom culture, but now we see that map has changed again. The gifts we particularly need to cultivate are very much akin to what the New Testament calls apostleship. In the Apostle Paul, we see determination, vulnerability, innovation, willingness to work in a way that was very different to his culture and tradition, yet still had the essence of the call of God. These are the very things we need to be encouraging now. God still gives these gifts, and we can see them most evidenced in some of these folk. We've been praying for harvest hands. In Luke 10, Jesus said, "What a huge harvest, and how few the harvest hands. So, on your knees, ask the God of the harvest to send harvest hands." Just after this, we read the story of Jesus sending out the 72. Maybe these pioneers are some of the harvest hands we've been praying for. Let's not forget these. Where else might God be raising up new pioneers? What new communities are just waiting to be gathered? The Mother House will actively act to help circuits think about their own potential projects. It will be a deep well of experience and resources to help other pioneers as they emerge. Working as a district in this new way, we aim to grow resilient, new faith communities that make sense in the 21st century through the support, training and release of pioneers.